What if the secret to feeling less stressed, maybe finding a bit more joy, isn't about pushing harder or, being more productive, grinding through it? What if it's something we've kind of left behind? Something from childhood.
Okay.
That's right. What if the real key is, well, playing more?
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Especially today when everything feels like it has to be about work, about output.
Exactly. But today, we're going to do a deep dive into why bringing more play into your adult life could actually be one of the most powerful things you do for your well-being.
Absolutely. And we've looked at quite a bit of material for this, everything from psychology behind that flow state
Right.
to academic studies linking playfulness directly to stress and how we cope, plus some really practical guides on, how you actually do this.
Yeah, how to make it real. So our mission today is to sift through all that, pull out the really key stuff, understand the surprising link between play, stress, and feeling good. And most importantly, give you, our listener, some concrete, simple ways to bring this idea into your own life.
Okay, let's get into it.
So first things first, we really have to tackle this idea that play is just for kids. I mean, every single source we looked at basically screamed this, adults need it too. Maybe even more.
Yeah, that really stood out. The research acknowledges that historically it's all been about child development. Play's role for adults, for our mental and emotional health, often overlooked.
But the benefits don't just vanish when you get your driver's license.
Not at all. And when we talk about play for adults, it's not always, playgrounds and finger painting, though it could be.
Sure.
Research actually describes playfulness in adults less as one specific activity and more like a personality trait, a predisposition, maybe.
Okay, like an outlook.
Exactly. A tendency to frame or reframe situations to make them more entertaining, more engaging, maybe more satisfying. It's a way of interacting with the world.
Interesting. So what does that look like?
Well, it often involves certain traits, things like being dynamic, having energy, being active, gregarious, being friendly, liking interaction, uninhibited, being a bit spontaneous, maybe adventurous, and having a comedic side, finding humor in things.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
And one source even said it's considered a pretty stable trait over time.
That's right. It suggests it's a more fundamental part of who someone is, not just a fleeting mood.
So it's like this inner spark, this willingness to engage with things a bit more lightly, more spontaneously. And that connects to something called the flow state, doesn't it?
It really does. Flow. That's what the psychologist Csikszentmihalyi called the optimal experience.
Right, I've heard of that. It's when you're just completely absorbed in something.
Totally. Utterly engaged. Doing it just for the sheer joy of it. Time kind of disappears. Distractions fade out.
Yeah.
And you're operating right in that sweet spot where the challenge of what you're doing perfectly matches your skills.
So you're stretched, but not like totally overwhelmed or stressed out.
Exactly. And crucially, it's driven from within. You're doing it because it feels good, because it's engaging right then and there, not for some external reward or to avoid something bad.
Which is why just passively scrolling or watching TV usually doesn't get you there, right? You need to be actively doing something.
Precisely. Passive consumption doesn't typically induce flow. And the research shows that when you come out of a flow state, you often feel this amazing sense of competence and efficacy.
That I did it feeling.
Yeah, I handled that. I'm capable. It's a powerful feeling.
Okay, so that feels good, definitely. But let's tie this back. Why does all this matter so much for adults? More play, more playfulness, finding flow. Why is it important?
Okay, the benefits we found across the sources, they're pretty huge. Let's start with the big one, stress. Play is consistently highlighted as a really powerful tool for relieving stress and maybe even helping prevent some of those stress-related health problems down the line.
Yeah, I saw one source even called creative play a kind of self-medication, but like the good kind.
Exactly, a healthy coping mechanism. Because playing doesn't just distract you from stress, although that helps.
Right.
It actually stimulates your mind and triggers the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals.
Ah, okay, so it actively improves your mood.
Yes. It boosts mood, promotes that overall sense of well-being, and can apparently even provide some temporary relief from physical pain. It's directly linked to positive affect, feeling good.
Wow. And it's not just about feelings, right? It helps your brain, too.
Absolutely. Sources point to it keeping your mind stimulated, boosting creativity. It might even help ward off memory problems later on.
That's significant.
And it improves cognitive functions like problem solving and divergent thinking.
Divergent thinking. It's like brainstorming, coming up with lots of different ideas.
Exactly. Instead of just one right answer, you're exploring possibilities, which is super useful for navigating, well, adult life.
Definitely need that.
Yeah.
Finding new solutions instead of getting stuck. And what about connecting with others?
Play helps there too. Whether you're doing activities with friends or family or just sharing a moment of humor, play can be really social. It deepens those bonds.
Makes sense. And you mentioned that feeling of competence, self-esteem.
Yeah, that comes up too. Engaging in creative stuff like making art or learning music gives you a real tangible sense of accomplishment. And successfully doing something challenging while you're in flow, that reinforces your belief in your own abilities, boosts that self-efficacy.
Okay, so stress relief, brain boost, mood improvement, better relationships, more confidence. That's quite a list.
And one more key thing. The research suggests playfulness itself seems to be adaptive. It basically gives you more mental and emotional resources to cope effectively when stress does hit.
Which it inevitably does.
Right.
Okay, this leads us into something really interesting, the actual science. How does being playful help us handle stress and challenges better?
So this is where the academic research gets specific. A major finding was pretty clear. People who score higher on measures of playfulness tend to report experiencing less perceived stress.
Less perceived stress. So it's not necessarily that fewer stressful things happen to them?
Exactly. It's more about how they experience or interpret those things. Being playful seems to fundamentally change your relationship with stress.
How? What's the mechanism there?
Well, the research points to a couple of key things. First, it goes back to appraisal. Remember, stress isn't just the event.
Right. It's how you see it, whether you feel like you can handle it.
Precisely. You appraise the situation. Does it exceed your resources? Do you feel overwhelmed? Playful people, maybe because of that tendency to reframe things, seem better able to look at a stressful situation and see it differently. Maybe not as a total disaster, but as, I don't know, an interesting challenge. Or maybe find some humor in it.
Like a mental shift.
Yes, that cognitive flexibility, that ability to playfully adjust your perspective seems to act as a kind of buffer against the stress response.
And does that different way of seeing things lead to different actions?
It seems so. The study found that more playful individuals tend to use more engagement-focused coping styles.
Engagement-focused, meaning?
Meaning they tend to lean into the problem rather than avoiding it or withdrawing. They're more likely to use things like active coping, taking direct steps to fix things.
Okay.
Planning, coming up with a strategy. Positive reframing, finding the good or learning aspect, even if it's tough.
Seeing the silver lining, kind of?
Sort of, yeah. Or acceptance, acknowledging what's happening without fighting reality or getting stuck in wishing it were different.
That sounds much more constructive.
It really does. It paints a picture of actively working through challenges. And interestingly, this contrasted with findings that less playful people in the study reported using self-blame more often.
Oof. Yeah, that makes sense. If you can't reframe it or find humor, maybe you turn it inwards.
It seems plausible. And that ties back to the comedic aspect of playfulness. The study also found playful people used humor more as a coping style, using it to maybe diffuse tension or process things.
It really shows how that playful mindset translates into, well, more effective ways of dealing with life.
Yeah. And there are links to personality, too.
Yeah.
Playfulness seems to correlate with traits like extroversion and openness to experience, which are already known to be linked with more adaptive coping and lower stress. So playfulness might be part of this broader cluster of resilient traits.
And even just making time for leisure where play often happens can help.
Definitely. Leisure activities can act as a buffer. They provide chances for social support, feeling connected, and also self-determination, that sense of choosing what you do because you want to.
That feeling of control or choice.
Exactly, which is often missing when we feel stressed.
Was there anything about coping styles that people didn't use much in the study?
Yeah, interestingly, things like substance use, behavioral disengagement, which is basically just giving up in denial, were the least reported coping styles across everyone, regardless of how playful they were.
That's somewhat reassuring, I guess.
There was one other finding that was a bit puzzling about religion as a coping style.
Oh, What was that?
It was used less by people who were moderately playful compared to those who are either low or very high in playfulness.
That is odd. Any idea why?
Well, the researchers speculated a bit. Maybe traditional group-based religion offers structure that appeals more to less playful folks, whereas highly playful people, being more intrinsically motivated and liking exploration, might lean towards more individual spirituality. But they were very clear, this is just a guess. It needs way more research.
Fascinating, though, these complex little nuances. Okay, but let's bring this all back home. We know play is good. We know why it's good. How do we actually get more of it into our packed adult lives? This is the really practical part, right?
This is the what can you actually do part. And the first step, according to one guide, sounds basic, but it's probably the most important. You have to consciously make it a priority.
Like scheduling it.
Pretty much. Just like you schedule meetings or workouts, block out some time for play, and you don't need hours. Start small. Maybe just 10 or 15 minutes a day.
Okay, that feels doable. And play isn't just one thing, right? There are different kinds.
Absolutely. There's physical play. Sources suggest even quick bursts like 5 or 10 minutes. Get up, walk around, do some gentle yoga, put on some music, and just dance.
Nobody has to see you.
Exactly. Or if you enjoy it, more structured stuff like a casual sports team or a dance class works too.
But what if you're feeling really low energy or maybe dealing with mental health stuff where big physical activity feels like too much?
That's where intellectual and creative play come in. These are great because they stimulate your mind, offer that sense of engagement, but don't necessarily demand high physical energy.
Okay, like what?
Simple things. Keep a puzzle nearby, a jigsaw puzzle, on a table you can add a piece to whenever you walk past. Or keep a crossword or Sudoku book handy for spare moments.
Oh, I like that. Little brain snacks.
Yeah. Crosswords and Sudoku are great. They challenge your brain. You might learn something new. Sharpen those problem-solving skills.
What else?
Playing along with quiz shows. Like Jeopardy at home. It's fun, boosts cognitive skills, exposes you to new facts, helps with memory recall.
Or reading. Does reading count as play?
It definitely can, especially things like mystery novels. They activate the problem-solving, memory, logic parts of your brain as you try to figure it out. But really, any fiction reading for pleasure is good cognitive stimulation.
And creative hobbies seem really important here, too.
Hugely important. Dedicating even small pockets of time daily to something creative. Learning an instrument, painting, drawing, knitting, writing, whatever sparks your interest.
That's where the endorphins and the sense of achievement really come in.
Right. Yes. One source mentioned art journaling, or even just making art from odds and ends you find at home. Makes it accessible.
Doesn't have to be gallery-worthy.
Not at all. Another idea was mask painting, which sounds interesting for self-reflection, thinking about how you see yourself versus how others might see you.
Kind of deep, but playful, too.
And there was a lovely hands-on idea, the gratitude cookie jar.
Ooh, tell me more.
It's simple. You just write down things you're grateful for or positive things about yourself, maybe something good that happened in your day. Put the notes in a jar.
Okay.
Then, when you're having a tough time, you pull one out and read it. It's a physical way to practice gratitude and self-kindness. Could even be a family thing if the environment is supportive.
I love that. That's really concrete. What about sand play? That sounds more therapeutic.
It is often used therapeutically, yeah. Using little figures in sand to create scenes representing your inner world. It can be a way to explore tricky feelings or memories, especially if talking is hard, offers a different perspective.
And for something super simple and low cost.
Coloring, just good old-fashioned coloring books. Very budget-friendly, creative outlet.
So lots of options. And what about fitting it into the routine we already have? Like the commute?
Yeah, think about transforming dead time. Instead of just gritting your teeth through the commute, maybe listen to really uplifting music or an engaging podcast or audiobook. Call a friend hands-free, obviously. Even doing simple seated stretches or exercises if you're stuck in traffic, make that time work for you playfully.
And breaks during the day.
Crucial. Short movement breaks at work or home. Just get up, stretch, walk around the block for 5 minutes, reset your brain and body.
And planning fun for weekends.
Yes. Be intentional about scheduling recreational activities, with others or solo. Go see a movie, visit a museum, try a new hiking trail, explore a different restaurant. New experiences are explicitly mentioned as recharging.
It really feels like the core message is about being conscious, being intentional about it.
Exactly. It's about consciously weaving these moments of play, engagement, and novelty into your life. The sources strongly suggest the payoff, better health, better mood, more resilience, makes the effort totally worthwhile.
So wrapping this all up, our deep dive really hammers home that play isn't frivolous. It's not just for kids. It's pretty vital for adults.
Fundamental, really, with real, measurable benefits for stress, brain health, how you feel emotionally, and even how you cope with challenges.
And it connects to these deep psychological states like flow, and maybe even reflects adaptive parts of our personality, like playfulness itself.
Right. And the best part, I think, is that you absolutely have the power to cultivate more of this. It doesn't need a life overhaul.
No huge changes needed.
Nope. It's often about those simple, conscious choices, giving yourself permission to be a bit lighter, a bit more spontaneous.
Okay, so here's a final thought to chew on. If playfulness is described as a personality trait, and we often think of traits as kind of fixed, can we actually become more playful?
That's a great question. And the research seems to suggest it's not totally fixed. It's more like a continuum. And crucially, it seems it's something you can nurture. You can develop it over time by consciously choosing playful activities, playful perspectives.
So you can practice it, essentially.
Yeah. It means giving yourself permission to find that part of you again. Maybe challenging that inner voice that says adulthood has to be serious all the time.
So the real question for you, listening right now, is what one small step will you take this week? What little thing can you do to nurture your own inner playful spirit and start discovering these benefits for yourself?
Give it a try. Honestly, everything we looked at suggests it can make a real positive difference.